those countries have some personal or self-interest, economic interest in Burma. So they don't want to sully the relationship because it will affect their own income, if you like. So, I mean, there is a fine line to be balanced. But an interesting point, I mean, obviously the situation is very bad. And from what you're saying, it is very, very inhumane. But is the desperation getting to a point where the Burmese government have the right to say that now there's extremism taking place, there's violence, you know, are these things happening?
No, this is just, it's not substantiated, it's just, I mean, the...
allegations.
Allegation.
Yeah.
It's just allegation. Okay. They cannot show a single, I mean, the instances that Rohingyas are involved in the extremism or something.
Okay. I mean, Tom, this report that you've published, I mean, what do you want to achieve from it? And who are you really targeting, particularly, to take heed from this?
Well, I mean, this is a problem that's been going on for a very, very long time. And we wanted to build on the publicity that the whole issue received because of the photographs that were published of the treatment of the Rohingya people who were at the hands of the Thai authorities earlier this year. I think the first thing is that, you know, it's important that people around the world stop calling the Rohingya a forgotten people. They're not forgotten. Everyone knows, who cares to know, you know, knows what's going on. It's very well documented. The problem is that they're simply being neglected. No one wants to do anything about it. They don't have a constituency in the Western world. They don't have a constituency in the Islamic world, in spite of the efforts of their representatives to raise it at the OIC and elsewhere. I mean, we are addressing, I think, primarily ASEAN countries to treat the refugees better. We're also obviously addressing the Burmese authorities, although we don't expect them to pay much heed to it. And we're also addressing the West because, as Peter Kessler earlier said, you know, the West could be much more generous in offering to resettle some of these people in their own sort of refugee resettlement schemes, but as is very well known, the door is closing in Europe and other parts of the Western world to refugees and asylum seekers, and also they need to give much more assistance to the region. You know, this is a developing region. They don't have the resources to deal with this burden of refugees, and so the West could be doing a lot more as well.
Do you see, I mean, Tom, sorry to interrupt you there, I mean, do you see, obviously all of these things must happen, but for a solution to come about, there has to be a political solution. I mean, do you sense, you know, over the horizon that that's possible?
A political situation to the
solution to this, yeah. Political solution to this problem of the refugees?
Well, I mean, I don't see that there'll be a political solution to this particular problem until there is a change of government in Burma, which, as I've said, is, you know, one of the most repressive governments in the world, and and it abuses all its people, and among those, the Rohingya, because of their status and the history of their treatment, are the most vulnerable. So no, I don't see a particular solution coming from Burma to this particular problem. The solution has to come in an overall solution to the whole problem of Burma.
Okay, Peter, what do you think? I mean, we're coming to the end of the show. I mean, in going forward, I mean, what would the solution be?
Well, I mean, if I can put in a pitch for the UN Refugee Agency, obviously we're one of the world's leading humanitarian agencies, and we're entirely funded by voluntary contributions. So support from the Islamic world to our work is crucial, because not only are we working with long, protracted situations like the Rohingya, but also in crises right now in Pakistan. And that needs always support all the time. In terms of the plight of the Rohingya, obviously it has to be addressed by the broader international community and the neighboring countries. There has to be pressure that they have, of course, rights to engage in their full political life in Myanmar, and of course, right to travel and move freely to seek work, and of course, respect for their human rights. And the camps for those people who still may have human rights concerns need to be properly funded, so that these protracted situations also allow refugees to be educated and assisted properly.
Okay. Nurul Islam?
Yeah, well, actually, this is a case of complete denial. So the most important is acknowledgement of the problem. You look, in Burma, it is not that we are not the citizen of that country. We are very much part of this, the Burmese nation. But we are being denied. As for example, the first election in Burma was held during the British colonial period in 1947. This is a general election for Constituent Assembly in 1947.
Yeah.
And the last one held by the military themselves in 1990 general election. Rohingya, they exercised their rights of franchise. They got the right to vote and right to be elected. They have their own representative. Even in the last referendum, we have participated in people participated in the last referendum. So it involves the citizenship already. It involves already citizenship.
Okay, we're coming to an end, Nurul. I think, you know, I'm going to have to stop you there because we are coming to an end, and I think this matter needs far more time and far more attention, and I'd like to thank you for coming today. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Tom, as well, for joining us. Sorry we run out of time, and I think the important thing that's been mentioned here is that, you know, there needs to be, first, an acknowledgement that this problem exists, and second, we need to perhaps put pressure on the local countries to do something. Hope you enjoyed the show. Join me again next week, inshallah, where we'll be talking about something else on Ummah Talk around the world. Assalamu alaikum.